Now, also, if we take it back the example of Duke of Hazzard and Campfire, the way indie distributors look at return on investment and studio distributors look at it is very different. Studio is really important for them opening weekend numbers. And indie have much longer breadth of it, right? Because for you, you said, well, I knew it's not going to be a good opening weekend because I'm opening against that, but you weren't too worried because you have, but then again, the theaters won't screen you for that long, or do they?
Well, the old model was you could do a wide release like a studio film, or you could do a rollout of a film, and you could open in New York and LA, or you could pick cities or territory, parts of the United States where you felt a film would really perform best. Let it develop word of mouth, let it build an audience, and then exhibitors in other parts of the country would want to pick it up. And so it develops its own momentum and it grows. It's so hard to do today. There are examples this year and last where it worked, but the kind of platform release that I'm talking about is very hard to pull off in today's world because there is so much competition for people's attention that you don't have the luxury of time. Because by the time you've entered one market and educated that market about this film and it's out there, you've already lost the screen. And you're competing against films that are now opening on 5,000 screens. Assuming those screens ever would have taken a chance on an independent film in the first place, now it's all that much harder because they have to have the tentpole films. They have to have the blockbusters because it's how the exhibitors make their living. Right? So the path for truly independent film is now more art houses and educational and institutional screenings and calendar houses. And
what do you mean by calendar houses?
A calendar house is a theater where the film is booked for a specific screening run. It is calendared. So a film is going to play at the Film Forum for 5 days or 4 weeks, or a film is going to play at the Art Institute of Chicago for this weekend or as part of this series. As opposed to an open run theater, you go to your Regal or AMC Lowe's, and the film will keep playing as long as there's enough money coming in, there are enough people buying tickets that it justifies holding the screen.
So AMC and Lowe's don't have to commit to the studio how long they're going to keep it, even though the studios now own them, but...
Well, they agree to a certain minimum hold.
But if they wanted more, they'll just keep it. If they're not making money, they'll just scale down the screens. And
Right. Sometimes you'll see a film that's still in theaters, it's only playing one time each night, and you wonder, is there really a market for this film at 9:45 on a Tuesday? And the answer is, well, they've committed to a 4-week run. But the studio, doesn't want the exhibitor to go out of business, or else who's going to show their film?
Right.
So they can't expect them to lose money and deny themselves the opportunity to show a new film that is going to perform, to hold a screen for a film that's underperforming.
So they let them put it in a more obscure hour.
Well, there's wiggle room.
But then a place like Film Forum in New York, which you said was a calendar, they'll tell you these 4 weeks or 4 days, whatever agreed to in advance, are yours.
Yes.
There's one person, there are 100 people, you're on the screen.
Right, and Film Forum will hold things over. And they will take some films that maybe do have an open end, but they also structure, the restored print of Lawrence of Arabia, and it's going to play in the Film Forum. It's going to be the first place in America you're going to see it. And it's going to play here for 10 days or 3 or however long they book it for. And then they've got something else coming on that screen.
Right. And that's right, because you can always go to all these art houses' websites and this is our calendar. This
right.
Is,
that's
download a month in advance.
Right. That's what I mean by a calendar house. They publish the calendar. It's something is scheduled in and scheduled out. Whereas if you go to AMC Lowe's, they don't ever say until they've decided to pull a print, to pull a film, last 3 days or last 2 days, because they don't know if it's going to be the
So
last
that
2
leads
days.
us to the issue that most of our indie viewers that are watching are struggling with. You are admitting that it's harder and harder to get a film in a theater.
Yes.
But we have all these other avenues.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk a little about the new avenues that open up for filmmakers, the new avenues that open up that you wouldn't recommend to go. Like we were briefly talking about YouTube, because everyone's talking about YouTube. And he says, well, YouTube is free. You're never going to make money there, so why would you want to put there unless it's last resort? Or, as you mentioned, short films as a calling card. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about where we should go, where we should look, where we should spend our time trying to put it on.
Well, the answer that everybody in the film business will give you about online distribution.
And others. Let's also talk about the other things besides
Right,
online.
we will, but specific to online, is it is definitely going to be the new means of consuming, and none of us know exactly how it's going to work. Is it going to be free, like YouTube? Is it going to be free with ads interspersed? Is it going to be subscription, like Netflix? Netflix has a Watch Now function, and if you're a Netflix subscriber, you can watch as many films as you want. Is it going to be pay-per-view? And the answer is we don't know.
Well, would it be fair to say that the YouTube model is probably not going to be the one, because if it's free and there are no ads, there's no money coming in, we just can't afford to make the films.
Right. Well, there is advertising on YouTube.
Right.
It's just not interstitched
Right.
into the primary visual content. It's down the column.
Although now they started doing those pop-ups, and I think people are going to get annoyed and find a new site to look on.
Right. So the consumer expectation that's created by YouTube is that they're not going to interrupt the clip.
Right.
But they're also showing such short clips that there's really no, if your entire running time's a minute 40, it's hard to find a place to stitch in an ad.
Right.
When we were talking before, I was talking more about features. It doesn't make sense to put a feature up for free on the internet, uninterrupted and unsupported either by ad or sponsor, unless you've exhausted every single other possibility. And the reason it doesn't make sense is because there are windows that are exploitable. And in the film business, exploitation is not a bad word. Exploitation merely means that you are able to take something to a marketplace. And the windows, theatrical is a window, TV is a window, home video is a window, different forms of video on demand and pay-per-view and different digital distribution means, those are all windows. And before you give something away for free that costs you money to make, you should try to exploit the windows that are exploitable.
Right. And for that, you really need someone in the know, someone like you, to take your film to those people. I mean, if not only for legal reasons that they won't talk to you, it's worthwhile to spend the money to hire someone that can take you forward.
I think it's very worthwhile to either have a mentor or an experienced producer on your team who's taken films into the marketplace before, or to have a consultant like me, or a producer's rep, a sales agent, somebody who's actually done the deals and read the contracts and knows how long it takes for different windows to be exploited and what the order of exploitation is, although that's changing as well. A couple years ago, there was a big splash made by Mark Cuban's company. He took a Steven Soderbergh film called Bubble and put it in theaters and on TV and available for video on demand all on the same day. Right. Got tons of press. Now it doesn't get press, but there are several distributors who are now doing day and date, meaning different windows are being done at the same time. Because, like I was saying before, it's so hard to get people's attention in the first place.
Wherever I get you, I'm happy.
Yeah, right. If I get you as a pay-per-view customer, great. If you want to buy a DVD, better. If you want to go to the theater, best, right? Because if you go to the theater, you're more likely to buy it on DVD or pay-per-view down the line if you enjoyed it.